Oh, what is going on, fellow citizens of the Trash Factory? Just wanted to come on here and tickle your grundle a little bit, as I am known to do. Now that we got these push notifications back, it really just cranks my bag. Just knowing that I could just push a button and just summon several hundred folks at the press of a baton. So I'm getting back on the live trend here, and I figured I would come on here and just crank a Fouch torpedo into your brown eye. So here we are again. Thanks for being here. I have a couple of topics that I wanted to chat about while the world burns to the literal ground. But I just wanted to perhaps brighten your day, tickle your grundle, etc. First of all, let it be known, cream of wheat, the narrative is crumbling, Larry. But doesn't mean we're out of the weeds yet. Doesn't mean that it's time to rejoice. Doesn't mean it's time to just let your bag relax and just somersault out the door and into like a ball pit and just laugh for the rest of the time. I just want everybody to know that while the current issue begins to crumble, all that means is that they're going to co-opt a new issue. A literal new issue is going to surface. Now, what is that particular issue? I would wager to say that they are A/B testing that issue through the information sources that are the media. They just A/B test a story to see how much people freak out. And then they're going to measure whichever one of these stories causes people to freak out the most, and then they're going to co-opt that issue and drive it directly into your balloon knot for the remainder of the next 24 to 36 months. That's what they're going to do. And right now they have a couple of different ones up on the top. They have a couple ones up on the chopping block there, Jill, Dr. Jilly. One of them is the mysterious truck of mysterious monkeys that tipped over. There's a mysterious monkey truck. I was watching Tommy Veck's live stream last night, and he was like, I've seen this movie before. It's just like, a mysterious truck of mysterious poisonous monkeys escaped. Some woman walked up to the monkey and got scratched, and now she has pink eye. It's like, okay. So what I'm thinking is happening is they're going to A/B test whatever is the thing that freaks people out the most, and then they're just going to crank that home and drive it home, Billy. I just shaved. I'm like bleeding. I can't be trusted. What's he doing? So if you see me doing that, it's because I cut the old neck there. Anywho, I was like, I was getting my bag in a knot as I was like, I gotta go talk to the people. I gotta go yell at the folks. Gotta go scream into my phone for a little bit while my dog was just like, don't do it. Give me attention. Anyhow. So anyways, as the narrative crumbles, as this issue, as this crisis, as it disappears, as it has been for quite some time, can't say that, you're canceled. They're just going to find a new thing to get people to freak out about. And they've been able to get people to freak out about this. So they're with certainty about to get you to freak out about the next thing. It's the monkeys from the truck. It's at school. It's this, it's that. It's Neil Young. Neil Young is the new leader of the free world, whatever. I don't know, but they're going to find something to scare people about, and then they're going to drive it directly into your brown eye, because that's what they've been able to do with this. So they're going to wait until it fades, and then it's going to be the weather, it's going to be the tectonic plates, it's going to be something, famine, who knows what it's going to be, but you better believe it's going to be something. So the point is, the exercise, the massage that I'd like to just like lightly guide into your balloon knot is be prepared for the next thing, because if record high inflation, if not being able to get food and goods and paying out the nose for all these typical household goods, if gas being off the charts, if there not being anybody to work, if all the quality laborers being clapped, if walking into a Costco in Quebec, you have to have a chaperone to hold your hand and be like, excuse me, sir, you're not allowed to, you can't purchase a greeting card for your family member. You have to purchase pharmaceutical products or get out of this Costco. It's like, just let me get a 99-cent piece of pizza the size of my head, you tyrant. But whatever. They don't want you having those hot dogs. They don't want you having a churro. They don't want you snacking on a churro at Costco. All right. They don't want you to enjoy your life. They're like, go home and be alone in a pit of despair. As all these like overweight, obese leaders are like, healthy health. It's like, fam, if you're 75 pounds overweight, I care nothing about what you say about health, you psychopath. They're just like, oh God. They're like, oh, you can't go to the gym. It's like, dog, maybe you should go to the gym. I'm just saying. Gyms are closed. It's like, all right, you Pygmalion. Lizzo slays in see-through bodysuit in front of the Vatican. She had 17 cheeseburgers. She is gorgeous, beautiful. It's not even about Lizzo. I'm not trying to make fun of Lizzo. I'm just saying this is the type of people. They're like, look up to her. She's slaying. It's like, is she though? I'm just saying, whatever. No churros allowed unless. Oh God. So, anyways, back to the point. Thank you, Nicola, for the super chat on YouTube's there. Appreciate that. Thank you. Anyways, so what was I saying? Anyways, yeah. So the narrative is crumbling, and I think that this dumpster fire clown sneaker, this literal clown, this literal simpleton, like literal simp, Justin Trudeau. What a clown shoe. What a smudged sneaker of like a gang of retired clowns this guy is. What a laughable treat. So I did a bunch of research because everybody was just like, Canada. Because I've been talking about the Canada truck issue. I don't know if you saw my story, but I made a video about the Canadian trucker issue like literally a month ago. So I'm on the tip, Larry. I understand there's a lot of people in Canada, so I did a little bit more research and looked into it today. And it's just like, from the looks of things, it kind of seems like what's going on with these truckers is, quite frankly, maybe one of the most significant things that's happening right now. And in theory, I don't want to say the world because there's protests going on all over the world. And, at the end of the day, we got to keep track and pay attention to things that are happening locally in order for us to instill the most change. There's only so much time in the day. But I'm looking at it and I'm just like, yeah, like if all of these truckers really do block the road and shrink the supply chain, like this could be the wrench that is necessary in order for them to cave. And isn't it so sad that that's what it's got to be, cutting off basic goods? Because here's the bad part about it is like, if tens of thousands of truckers stand up for this, you know what's on those trucks? Goods, medicine, insulin, food, like all types of things. And it's really cold in Canada right now. And there's a lot of people that are going to suffer needlessly as a result of the supply chain being wrenched even more. So as much as I'm for it, which I am 100% for it, isn't it sad that that's the thing that has to be the straw that broke Trudeau's, spine or whatever. Don't say that. I don't know. I was trying to make a joke. I was trying to roll that one out in real time, but didn't hit. Whatever. Don't care. You're not here. Can't hear you not laughing. So suck it. Anyways. So, yeah. So it's just really sad that people are going to have to suffer as a result of that. But we should all be very proud and thankful for these truckers. And I just reposted a tweet from Trudeau, I think it was a year ago, where he was just like, thank a trucker. The truckers all went out there. And these dudes, which I alluded to in my video, these guys work, these guys, gals, theys, thems, hippopotamus, upside down giraffe, all them, those folks with an X. They all went to work all year. You can't work from home as a trucker, Larry. I mean, sooner or later you're going to be able to, but they weren't able to do that. So they were out delivering an outrageously high influx of goods, keeping the economy going. And they're the heroes, our frontline heroes. And everybody was so quick to pull their Johnson and twist their bag and rub their Dirt Star gently with beer like it's a piece of Kobe beef. They're just like, oh. They're like, they're like clangety clang on your pots outside your window to thank the truckers. And now 10 months later, they're just like, truckers don't represent Canada. Eh? It's like, shut up, Trudeau. It's like, go have some maple syrup and go hide in the corner. Like, go hide in a cave, climb a tree. Like, what's his face is up there? The former governor of New York, the dehydrated owl. Climb a tree with the dehydrated owl and tap some syrup, Trudeau. You're garbage. You're a garbage merchant. This dude's a clown. And the sad part about it all is that just like us here, Who's voting for these people? Like whom, like literally whom hurt you that you were just like, oh, you're like Trudeau, like you're just playing the violin to your own demise. It's like, oh, govern me harder, Trudeau. This guy's a clown simpletonian. Ugh, what a loser. It's just like, and they don't represent real Canadians. It's like, don't they though? Don't they, you jabron? He's just like, oh, think a trucker. It's like, shut up, dude. This guy is a loser, but whatever. It's real sad, and the world is garbage, and there's just these tyrants just like exercising just outlandish power and making all these kids suffer for nothing and making everybody suffer, and just the world is absolute garbage. So what I'm trying to say is that in the event that these truckers are successful, which I certainly hope they are, I think that the seasonality of, I don't know, just the earth, the planet, the seasonality of this stuff is going to start to, and it's going to start to warm up, right? And what happens when it warms up? Oh, the seasonal, I don't know, can't say that, whatever, but you get it because you're based. Yeah. So things are going to happen. People are going to start going outside again. What's going to happen when people go outside? All of it's going to continue to go down. And then the kids are going to be out of school, and it's going to allow that whole thing to crumble for the summer. And then by the end of the summer, they'll be able to take the temperature or the thermometer or the whatever of the base, whatever, and they're going to be like, yeah, we probably should start these kids back in school. But that's going to give them until August or September to make that decision. So they're going to run this stuff out until the end of the year, and they're going to be like, all right, it's dropped at the end of the year, because that's the thing, because it'll allow them to buy that time. And then when it comes midterm times, then they're going to start realizing that they got to pick another crisis to co-opt. And I predict that the crisis they're going to co-opt is going to be one of a few things. The first one is going to be that that America and the world is a very good, no good, very bad racist, and every single person is a racist, upside down, xenophobic, whatever. They're going to be like, oh, you're going to talk about the border? You can't talk about that. You're going to talk about the Supreme Court justice? Well, you can't talk about that. You don't have enough melanin, you psycho. So that's one. The second one is going to be what Joey Basement, Joey Nazkalines, Joey Skid Marks in his Depends is about to go to New York this week to talk to Eric Adams. Eric Adams is a former cop, so people think that he represents some type of like affinity to law and order, but this dude supports the exact same policies that allow all these people to needlessly suffer. They create the environment where the suffering happens, and then they act like they're the champions of solving the problem. This dude's only been in there a month, but he's a virtue signaling liar, lefty clown sneaker, just like the rest of them, just like DeGarbio. So Joey Basement's going to come to New York, and they're going to be like, oh, guns, high capacity magazines. And that's all the stuff that they're going to talk about. And they're going to make the new thing violence and internal threat and all this stuff, all these non-compliant, local terror. That's what they're going to do. And they're going to say anybody that opposes the narrative, and they're going to just further break the divide, which is like people that believe in the science with a $, all of the people that are science believers, aka completely compliant non-researchers. I'm saying if you want to believe it, but don't try to cancel the other people that believe something differently than you. It's just like, hello, there's multiple opinions here, Jerry, but whatever. It's not like the numbers don't lie or anything. It's not like look at Israel, but whatever. Don't look at Israel. Can't see that. It's just there, whatever. They're like, have 27 glasses of the juice, and everybody, the thing's off the chart, but whatever. Who cares about facts and things that actually happen? They're like, the doctors say this, the doctors say that. It's like, oh, here's 1,000 doctors that say something different than that. Well, you need to shut up. Take my garbage music off Spotify or shut up. It's like, okay, alrighty. So it's just like we're not dealing with people that are currently operating on the planet of Earth, the literal crust of the Earth. They're just like, they're so bought into the fact that they've been bamboozled that they're too prideful to even admit that they just got goosed. They just got mega goosed for 24 months, and they still they can't bear to admit it. So you have absolutely lying clowns like Whoopi Cushion and freaking what's his face? Howard Stern. It's like, hey, Howard, like cool, Howard. You made a bunch of offensive radio broadcasts for 30 years. Now you're just going to fearmonger everybody. What do you know, Howard? Congratulations, you have $150 million. Like, shut your mouth and retire, you clown. Like, these people they just love fear-mongering every single person and acting like they have some type of moral high ground on this when they just don't. It's like you're like a shit-posting radio DJ. Like, shut your mouth. Like, you are not a vision of health, Howard. Like, keep your opinions to yourself, Jerry. And then what about what's-her-face? What about Whoopi Cushion? You think any person should look at Whoopi Cushion for any rational understanding of health? Look at her face. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, I'm gonna believe fear-mongering Whoopi Cushion, who doesn't do anything to tell people how they should, I don't know, get healthier or literally anything because she doesn't even know herself. Yet she's gonna get on TV every single day and spew nothing but hatred and vitriol about how everybody needs to be compliant and scared and sit at home in a pit of despair like she does on her Whoopi Cushion. That's what she is. She's of a person. So cool, Whoopi Cush. She's the most baiting person, like all of them, just like Misery Reed and Misery Behar. All these people are sick in the head. It's like, get your life together, Bill. It's like, who hangs out with you? Like, what do you do for fun? Can you imagine what it's like hanging out with Whoopi Cushion and Misery Behar? Like on a like they're like they're like those types of people that like identify with the surroundings. Like they go in a restaurant and they're like, I love this restaurant. Isn't that nice thing on the wall? This wine is delicious. Where's it from? And like talking about empty nothingness because they have no personality, because they live in just a fear-mongering Whoopi Cushion like tube of garbage existence. And they're just like, let's go on TV on Monday and yell at everyone and make them scared at home while they're crying. It's like, shut up. It's just like, you're not helping anyone, Cushion. Okay. Oh, you can't say that. It's like, they're like, and then to hear the excuses that that Cushion gave for Joey Nazca lines in his skid mark Depends. She's like, because he's a human and he wanted to say that he's an SOB. That's called being human. It's like, Cushion, you haven't been human for 20 years. Like, what are you talking about? She was like criticizing Bill Maher's comedy skit. She's like, well, that's not funny. Whoopi, I'm just saying your opinion on humor is literally gone. Like, it went to pasture. Like, rest in peace. Like, your humor is deceased. Like, Cushion, take a walk. You know what I mean? But whatever. Oh, you can't say that. Okay, Cushion, that's not funny. Oh, last time I was looking for the vote on what's funny or not, I was like, what does Cushion say? She's like, I'm at home, triple juiced, triple diapered, alone, crying in a pit of despair, eating bonbons, and you should be too, because Donald Trump. It's like, whom hurt you, Cushion? Like, literal, and like, do you have any friends in your life, Cushion, that are like, yo, Cushion, maybe you should tone it down on the fear mongering, you psycho? It's like, you got $50 million. Like, maybe you should, I don't know, maybe have some positivity, you freakazoid, but whatever. Oh, and then like CBS is like, ha ha ha, like they're just laughing as they collect all of their coins, and then they're like, brought to you by Faisal. It's just like, I don't watch The View because I'm a sentient, like, human person, and I'm like, oh, like, I want to actually enjoy today. Like, I'm not just like, what? I just want to cry. Like, let me cry in a pit of despair. It's just like, so I don't watch it. But I would imagine that if you watch The View, it's just like, it's like Clorox, Faisal. It's like, do you have a headache? Take all these pills. Do you hate yourself? They're like, pills, pill. Take yourself a nice pill. And it's just like, it'll be like a family playing outside. And they're like, I identify as a giraffe. And they're like, are you a giraffe? Pills. Eat a good handful of pills. Welcome to America. Pill. Have yourself a nice opioid dinner with all of your friends and family. Are you feeling depressed? Have an opioid. It's like, all right. They're just like, they're like, thanks for watching The View. Brought to you by opioids. Brought to you by Sad Addiction. Brought to you by It'll Ruin You from the Inside Out. Presented by Cushion. It's like, cool. There's a CBS News. They're like, next on the show is some idiot from The Bachelor. He made out with 2 chicks at once. What? Brought to you by Faisal. Drink a freaking... Have yourself an opioid. Sit down on the couch and have a handful of opioids because we're about to get started. Meghan McCain. It's like, they're like, Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's just like, whom hurt you, Cushion? Like, what are you doing? They're just like, I used to like Canada, but they don't, fringe, guys on the fringe. It's like, have yourself an opioid. All right. Presented by depression pills. Are you depressed? Get more depressed. Have yourself a pill. It's like, oh God. God forbid, like a healthy, like a company that represents any element of health was to get on there. They're just like, these commercials are not working. They're like, brought to you by Peloton. Peloton's like, our stock is bombing because nobody wants to get on a Peloton bike. Instead, they're just like, pill. Have yourself a Marie Callender's pot pie and a handful of opioids and watch The View. They're like, oh, good job, Joe. It's like, what are you watching, Cushion? It's just like, are you seeing that? And people are just like, oh, like who is sitting down and being like, yo, you guys see The View? Like, who's sitting around just like a table, just like, did you guys see The View this week? It's like, what is wrong? What? Like, I'd rather you watch Bachelor. I'd rather you watch The Bachelor in Paradise or whatever the hell. Real Housewives of the Opioid City. Oh my God, I'm sweating. He must be on. Where's that guy from last night? He's like, lay off the meth, unfollow. It's like meth. It's like he's just like opioids. Oh man, but whatever. Oh, I really went in right there for a minute. I'm sweating so much that my hat is sliding back off my head. Okay. Anyways. So, Rodney, yeah. Big Rod, literal Rodney. But anyways, so with that being said, so the fear is going to come in some form this week, and it's going to be, like I said, the narrative with all the stuff that's going on is beginning to crumble, and they're going to have to find some new thing to co-op. And I think it's going to be pew pew. I think it's going to be the pew pews personally, and I think that they're going to use New York as the way of doing it. Because, like, think about it from this perspective. If you were Eric Adams, for example, and I don't know how old Eric Adams is, but I'm just going to look it up right now. Eric Adams, who has already demonstrated that he's willing to toe the line, he's 61. Eric Adams checks all of the theoretical boxes for the woke left. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's like he's a perfect candidate for them to fast track to stardom. So they're just like, will Eric Adams play the game? Will they allow him to be a woke skull just like the rest of them? Will they elevate his stock? Because think about what they were doing with dehydrated Al Cuomo. They were trying to gas Cuomo up to be the next theoretical president of the United States. But because he was a little too bit of a grabby Kathy, they were just like, gagak. It's just like, okay. Plus, they don't want an Italian in the office. Let's be honest. There's never been an Italian president in American history. So whatever, do whatever you want with that information. But so it's just like Eric Adams would be a perfect candidate to fast track into some cabinet position or whatever, or elevate his stock because he New York, blah blah blah. Look what he did. They would love to do that, and I feel like the Gavin Newsom stock is so tainted because he's a white man, number one, and he's obviously a garbage leader. But and I just feel like I could see them fast tracking this dude, and he's already expressed that he's got the swag, as they say. He just like has the characteristics that they were like, I could see them elevating this guy and really being like, all right, is he going to toe the line or not? So the fact that Joey Basement is going there is just like, could he co-opt this guy? He's fresh. He's new. We don't know the skeletons in his closet. The guy came out of nowhere. He's already represented that he's willing to participate in the whole nepotism type thing, appointing his brother and doing all of these shady things. So he's a perfect candidate to elevate out of nothingness into a primetime position. Like think about Pete Boot. Think about Pete Boot. Think about Buttigieg. Like, how qualified is Pete Buttigieg? How qualified is Buttigieg to be the Secretary of Transportation? He's literally not. The guy couldn't manage potholes in his own city. The guy was a mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and objectively did a pretty horrible job there. Yet this guy's at the Department of Transportation. This dude doesn't know anything about anything. They're just like, he fits all of the boxes. So they just artificially elevate this guy's stock. This dude ran for president. All they did was they used him to level the playing field, pulled him out, promised him a cabinet position or a department head position, and they're just going to elevate his stock because he checks all the woke boxes. And I feel like they're going to do the exact same thing with Eric Adams. And the fact that they're making people show their papers to buy a poppy seed muffin to walk into a building is more evidence of that. So anyhow, with that being said, I wanted to ask. So I wanted to also I haven't been looking at the comments, but I wanted to open the floor for any questions if anybody has any questions. And then I also wanted to start getting some feedback from everybody. If anybody has some ideas of things that they want to see on some merch. I'm doing a huge merch overhaul, and I'm going to change some of the things that are on some of the shirts and the hats and the hoodies and whatnot. So I'm looking to see if anybody has any good ideas for that. And I also wanted to see if anybody had any questions. I like the line of questioning. I think it's a pretty interesting premise for how I can kind of go into topics that I may not have covered anyways. So I wanted to see if there's any questions. Somebody said, what are your thoughts on woke folk that think they are always right? I think generally speaking, most people think they're always right. It's like being strong in your convictions. I think that's a natural thing for people to have. The problem is that they don't do any research to validate why they're right or why they might potentially be wrong. They don't want to know or realize that they're wrong. They only want to believe what they believe. So that is the problem. I think that by not doing research or not questioning their own opinion, it demonstrates why they can't be trusted. I'm constantly looking for people and opinions that are not my own so that I can take a different opinion on a subject. I want to do research that's from the other side. I watch CNN and CNBC, and I read Drudge, and I read different news outlets, and I watch different pieces of media to see what they're talking about. Maybe they're right. Maybe they agree. I don't believe that somebody is always wrong or always right on either side of the argument. If you pick your position on an argument before you hear the argument at hand, before you hear the two sides of it or the sides of it, then that's a fool's game. So I don't believe that anybody is always right or always wrong. So I listen to the opposing side of it, and I choose the one that I agree with. And the vast majority of the time, I appear on this theoretical side of things, and that's why I choose those things, which is why if you look back on all the videos that I have and all the things that I talk about, what I'm constantly talking about is people doing their own research. I'm like, hey, maybe you should pay a little bit more attention to what's going on. And for whatever reason, it's like, I'm not telling you how to think, or I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you how to think. Hey, do a little bit more research. Look into it. Look online. Do 10 extra minutes of research a day. You would think that this would be a non-trivial perspective or point to take. But it's not. They're not telling you to do research. They're not saying, go look it up. I'm not telling you that what you got to believe. I'm just like, go look it up. You see if you actually believe what you're saying. Because the vast majority of the time that I have a disagreement with somebody on a specific topic, they haven't even taken the time to go deep into that topic. They haven't even taken the time to understand the thing that they're supposedly fighting for or against. They're just like, oh, I heard on NPR that it was bad, so it must be bad. And it's like, is it bad? They don't even know what they're fighting for the vast majority of the time. So that's kind of the point. Yes, I did ask if you have questions. Somebody asked online. Somebody said, shout out to the veterans. We always get juiced and sacrificed first. That is very true. It's unfortunate. I'm on Instagram online, so I can watch the comments in the live stream, not on the screen, and it's not telling me that I'm live. So that's cool. It's always fun. Somebody said, do I like Donnie? My opinions have changed quite a bit since last year. It's a very loaded topic that we will get into more. How about you? What do you think? Are we going towards communism? I think what I think is more clear I think what I think about what's going on is more clear than probably 95% of the people that you know. I have hundreds and hundreds of videos expressing my opinion on any and all things. Of course, I think we're going on the wrong path. Is it going to lead to communism? I don't know, but it certainly has flavors of that. There's certainly a lot of really, really bad things that are occurring that I think are worrisome, to say the least. So what took so long for Canadians to inspire the world? I don't know. I mean, I think what you really have to understand is that a lot of people have been fighting in one way or the other, and it takes all of us doing something. This just so happens to be the current iteration because that was the domino that fell. That was the time frame that fell. It was, January 20th or whatever it was. Somebody said, do I think the earth is a ball? You mean round? Someone asked what you know about the trucker convoy. I've been talking about it. I think it's a great thing. I think that they're not covering it on the mainstream media. They don't want you to know about that. Just like they're not covering the protests. Is there any way a Republican can get in for 8 years? Yeah, of course. What do you think needs to happen for more people to stop being in denial of what's happening in the external? I think more people need to get their own house in order, and then I think that they're going to start to realize the clarity of how obvious all this stuff is. Would you raffle off you hosting a party for a fan or do a show up at a local event? Yeah, I would show up at a local event. Tell me. Somebody asked me to a bachelor party like 6 or 7 months ago, and I was going to go with people that I never met. I was like, yeah, why not? So yeah, maybe just ask me. Send me an email, woke@bobbysauce.com. Maybe I will go. I don't know. I'm just a human person. People are like, what do you think about the truckers? I think it's great. I'm in Florida. Do I think they will appoint Harris to the Supreme Court? Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if that was the position, but I generally think that they want to get people off the trail. So you got to remember this, like things that get leaked, like these people understand the game. They would leak information to throw you off the trail. You know, could it be her? Who knows? They just want to keep you distracted. Who cares about that? That's going to fall anyways. That domino is going to fall anyways when the time presents itself. So speculation is like completely pointless when there's kids going to school with a diaper over their face all day. It's like, let's focus on those things. As much as I think that that's important and imperative information, I don't know any more about it than you. Do I think 5G and the clap are related? No, I don't. I mean, I don't rule anything out, but I don't know. Do I think we'll have Donnie back in 2024? I think he's going to run for sure. I think that's more than obvious. Will he win? Who knows? Abby on Facebook said, do you think they are debating diapers in Oregon being permanent? Yeah, they've been talking about that for a while. Do you believe the left and the right are of the same bird? Yes, in some ways, yes, but in other ways, no. I generally think that there are bad actors all the way around, but you kind of have to figure out how to look, there's really like no good way to say this, but it's like, generally speaking, nothing's going to be perfect. It's like, sometimes you got to pick the devil you know versus the devil you don't. And it's like, generally speaking, you kind of have to, in this two-party trap that we happen to be in, you kind of have to pick your position in the game. Because if you don't pick a position and you stay on the fence, like there's this great thing that Andy Frisella said one time where he said fence sitters are not rewarded. So it's like, if you sit in the middle and you don't pick a team, your non-decision doesn't help anybody. So it's kind of like you kind of have to pick whichever one you agree with more, which is just like, generally speaking, I tend to agree with people that appear on the right side of things more often than not. So it's like, we happen to be in this trap. The way that we get out of it is more people have to get involved. More people have to run for local office. More people have to run for mayor, for governor, for city council, for senator, for House of Representatives. And more people need to be in the cipher so that there's a better array of people to choose from. And I think that people are understanding now how important that is. But you don't start to prepare for something a week before it happens. You got to prepare years and years in advance. If the people now are being inspired by all of this bad stuff that's happening, 8 years from now, we could have a really diverse field of people that have a lot of different experiences that would make our selections, our choices much better. So people need to start getting involved, and it has to be cool to talk about, think about, and wonder and get involved in this type of material. You got to make a habit of going to the school board meetings and being involved. You got to make a habit of understanding local politics. You got to make a habit of paying attention so that when it comes to a vote, you don't just pick the name that sounds right. People got to get involved in primaries. People got to get involved in understanding the law. People have to help make all of this content and information more digestible so that more people can get involved. The vast majority of people don't vote. 50% of the population in America does not even vote. So it's just like there's 50% of people that are just like, screw it. And generally speaking, they feel either A, disenfranchised by the system that they can't make any effect in it, or B, they just don't care, or at least they think they don't care, or C, they're so convinced that it's such garbage that they would just rather not pay attention. And unfortunately, paying attention is going to be absolutely crucial to getting out of this. And unfortunately, this situation kind of poked the bear where hopefully a lot more people are like, yo, politics is life. We got to be involved. Like, it has to be cool to pay attention to this stuff. Look, I've mentioned it a bunch of times. The reason why I pay attention to politics is because politics is life. I have one objective in life, and that is to be free. This is my primary objective. Be as free as possible. Freedom is my number one target. I thought about it a long time ago, and I was like, that's the target. Freedom. Every decision that I make I base around whether or not I can be free to live my life as much as I can. I want to live in the country that's the freest. I want to have a job that has me the freest. I want to be free of the encumbrances that the world theoretically pretends that I need to be trapped inside of. So freedom is the number one thing. How do you be free? You are financially free. In order to be financially free, you need to understand money. You need to understand the economy. You need to understand how to invest. Nobody ever got rich by saving money. Everybody got rich by investing money. Investment is the key to wealth. So it's like, in order to be rich, you have to understand how to invest. In order to understand how to invest, you have to understand economics and sales. In order to understand economics, you have to understand the government. In order to understand the government, you have to be involved in paying attention to politics. That's just the game. In order to be free, you need to understand politics, which means you understand the economy, which means you understand money, which means you understand investing, which means you understand how to preserve your freedom. That's the point. And then in that whole game, you realize how important freedom is, not only to you, but to all the other people in the world that should and need to have it. Then you're like, I want to distribute this freedom so that more people in future generations have it. This is how I can contribute back to the world. It's like, once you know something, you want more people to know that thing. There's plenty of food for everybody to eat. There's plenty of success for everybody to have. There's plenty of money for everybody to go around. It's like there's nothing but abundance in the world. And if you could just understand that the more people that are doing well, the better it is for everybody. That's the whole thing. We live in this extremely inefficient, sloppy, jalopy, upside down, backwards world where we're squandering needless human productivity on things that don't matter. And all of that wasted productivity would equate to a higher quality of life for the people of the earth. You would have food cheaper and more readily available. Jobs, you wouldn't have to work as hard. You would be more efficient. You would be better. It would be a higher quality of life for everybody if the government was to get out of the way, if small and medium-sized businesses were allowed to do their thing, if businesses were not taxed to the moon, if your average everyday person was not taxed to the moon, if we weren't squandering money in needless wars and engagement overseas every single day, if we didn't have reckless spending in government, if we didn't have needless departments of government like the Department of Energy, the Department of Education, and all of these different departments with thousands and thousands of people and mass massive budgets where they have a guy that's he's the new such and such and such and such. And he spends $30,000 of taxpayer money on a desk for his office. There's a needless squandering of cash at every level of the game. And for some reason, the people that think that the system is rotten to the core, right down to the beginning, are the exact same people that want to give that government more power. They're like, tax the rich, tax Jeff Bezos, tax all these rich people. It's like they're taxing the rich people and squeezing more money out of the people that are objectively the most productive is not a solution. You're just creating more bureaucracy. You're creating more intermediary. You're creating more gum in the system that doesn't allow it to flow. By taxing the people more, whether they're rich or poor, you don't even understand that you're taxing yourself, you idiot. By taxing somebody like a Jeff Bezos or taxing a big corporation, what are you doing? You're taking money away from the shareholders, the investors, which could be your average everyday retail person. You're taking money out of the pockets of the employees. You're raising the prices of the goods. So it's like the consumer suffers, the employee suffers, every single person suffers. The only thing that wins is the bureaucracy gets more money, which they squander anyways. And then the guy at the top is not affected. If you were to tax Jeff Bezos out his nose, he would still be rich. This guy had the most expensive divorce in history, in human history. I think he gave his ex-wife $100 million, $100 billion. I don't even know how much he gave her. $10 billion. It doesn't even matter. But it's like, this guy is still the second richest person in the world after having his money split in half or split in 30 or 40% or whatever it is. So it's like, hello, like they're going to be fine. Taxing them is no solution. That money, that taxation is going to trickle down to all of your everyday average people, your small and medium-sized people. People think that giving the bureaucracy more power and more tax dollars is a solution, and it's not. All you're doing is what are they doing to help all these people? They're having people at the IRS worry about you having $600 in your Venmo account. $600 in your Venmo account. These people are so clueless. They don't even understand the basic fundamentals of how money works. And they're just like, govern me, daddy. They just want more tax dollars squeezed out of your fellow American citizens. They want to squander this cash and inefficiently spend it on programs that don't work to solve problems that they create. Yet all these people can seem to blame as rich people. Are you out of your gourd? Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk work like dogs. These dudes probably work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for their entire life. These people are savages. These dudes work their tail off. And it's like, your solution is tax them? How about tax Bernie Sanders? How about tax these do-nothing tyrants that have collected money off the public for their entire life, that have produced and signed the back of a paycheck since the day they entered the workforce? These people don't produce any output. They don't produce any jobs. They don't create any employees. They don't create any quality of life increase. All they do is complain and moan. How many bills has Bernie Sanders introduced in 30 years of politics? Not nothing. It's like, this is a joke. And then you got Joey Basement from the Joey Nazcolines and his Depends crime family. His son has a blood diamond, and they're just like, oh, good job, Joe. It's like, this is such a joke. It's no surprise everything is so stupid because nobody's been paying attention. You would do the exact same thing if you were in the halls of power. If you were the people that really run the world, this is exactly how you would do it. Now you just be laughing in our face. You're like, ha, ha, ha. The price of gas just went up, just doubled. They don't care about that. You know this. You know, a Bentley GT convertible runs on the same gasoline as your Honda Civic, Jerry. They don't give a shit. They could care less about an extra $20. They're like, yeah, they don't even drive the car in the first place. They're in a jet. And yeah, maybe they're paying more for the jet, so they'll just charge you more for the jet. They'll build their own business for the jet. It's a tax deductible expense anyways. They're not even paying it. You know who pays it? The business pays it, which means the employees pay it, which means the customers pay it. It all trickles right down back to you. People are so clueless. It's like, all right. It's like you're digging your own grave and you're like, oh, thanks, Joe. It's like if people understood that the government's job is not to create jobs, it would make them sick to their stomach every time they heard Joey Depends be like, good, hard-paying American job, just a good union job. My dad always said, Joey, your diaper's full of brown, but Joey, don't look down your nose at me, Jack. It's like, what? These people are stupid. So stupid. Good, hard-paying jobs. Oh, really? Like all the jobs that Barry O created. Has anybody ever heard of Solyndra? All right. It's like, how about the $600 million that we wasted, or $1 billion, whatever it was, on Solyndra? Did that do anything? No, because the free market is gonna dictate when energy moves in that direction. They're trying to do it by decree. They're trying to force us to be more green and all this other garbage, pretending like it's this imminent crisis. Why Joey Basement has a house on the ocean that his family's going to be in for the next 100 years, laughing about it. It's like they're not afraid of the things that they're pretending, and all they're going to do is they're going to weaponize the weather. I don't even say the C word. They're going to just weaponize the weather. This is the equity. Like, these people are savage. They're absolutely disgusting, yet people want to give them more power. It's like, please understand, there are two ways to look at how this problem is solved. Very simple. Very complicated problems often have very simple solutions. The solution is take the power away from the bureaucracy. Stop gumming up the gears with needless squandering of human beings' time, effort, and cash. The most efficiently spent money is spent in the free market. The most efficient use of workers is in the free market. The most productive use of human beings and their time and their assets is in the free market. That's where it needs to be. That's how it needs to be spent. Yet these people are so clueless, they don't even understand that. They want to give it to Joey Basement for them to squander. If you have a guy that's paving a road in the free market versus a guy that's paving a road in the government, who do you think is going to do it for less money? It's like, obviously the government's going to pay more because they're spending not even their own money. They're spending your money for something that doesn't even affect them. Imagine how little you would care about money if you were spending someone else's money for something that wasn't yours. Use a very simple example. Not even your neighbor, a guy across town wants to get a new pool, and you have an endless checkbook for how you can create this pool. You're going to spend someone else's money, his or the neighborhood's money, to build this pool for a person that's not you. Are you going to negotiate down the price of that pool? Are you going to try to work through the process of getting the best price? Well, if you don't use cement and you use this, if you don't use tile and you use this, if you don't get a heater, blah, 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 you're not going to worry about that. You're just like, yeah, just tell me what it is, because you can't lose your job anyways because you work for the government. All you care about is virtue signaling and complaining and staying in that position and collecting as long as you can. You're not rewarded by efficiency. The government is a gummed up system. You're not going to rise up the ladder. All you want is your 401k, and you want your pension, and you want to never lose your job ever. And you're going to figure out how to do the absolute minimum amount of work so that you can maintain your position. People on the other side in the free market are rewarded by creating productivity. They increase their salary. They move up in their job. They move up in their position. They get more responsibility. They become more competitive in the marketplace. They learn more things. They get a better job. People that get in the government, they stay there their whole life. They stay there their whole life because of the benefits. It's like, hello. So here people, and then you have people that don't even understand the basic fundamentals of how the economy works or how money works, because they don't understand freedom, because they're not free, and they don't understand that they need to prioritize freedom in order to live a prosperous life. They can't even get that through their thick head while they live in the freest nation in the world that human beings have ever known in the history of time. They can't even connect the dots that them being in this free place is the reason things are so good, that they can even have the opinion that they're so critical of. They don't even understand. They're shooting themselves in the foot. They don't even understand it. So, and those exact same people will be like, yeah, tax the rich, tax the rich. It's like, bro, you don't even understand what would happen if the rich got taxed. You don't even understand that you're creating a problem, and then you're going to look for a solution from the exact same people that created the problem. They're like, it's like the government sets the fire and then comes in to put it out. And they're just like, good job. They're like, let's hire more of them. It's just like, people are in an emotionally abusive relationship with bureaucrats, and they don't even know it. And they're so clueless because they cycle in and out every 4 to 8 years, because they understand how to weaponize the information flows into the mindset of your everyday average person. They're like, squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. So they just know that they just need to appear until it's no longer valuable. Then they disappear. Then they collect, then they collect, then they collect, then they feel, then they feel, then they pop right back in. And they get cycled through. And there's all these geniuses in Washington, D.C. that just know exactly when to pump you in and exactly when to slide you out. And they weaponize these people to get people to comply to exactly what they want, so they can push the narrative. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, the people at the bottom suffer, and then you get them to beg for them to be saved. And then when they save you, they make it even worse. And then you beg for the new blood to save you again. And it's this endless cycle of emotional manipulation and mass psychosis that most people are too clueless to even realize, because they're busy living their life. And then they're just like, oh, tax the rich. And then they figure out how to sloganeer their way into the hearts and minds of people that otherwise don't really pay attention. And they're like, that's a good slogan, because they know that that's how you emotionally manipulate a person. You give them a little bit of what they want. You convince them that this is right. You convince them that the other guy is bad. And then you can plow through anything and everything that you want now until forever. And then you just say the other guy's a racist if you disagree. You just say that they're bad for this, they're bad for that. Then they create a situation in DC in last January, and they're just like, let's just pull the cop. Like, imagine the scenery. There's helicopters circling around. They create and manufacture the problem, then they weaponize the problem up until the midterms to get their stuff in line. It is so obvious for any person that takes the time to pay attention, especially over a long period of time. But most people don't do that because they're busy living their life, and they know that. So they're just like, okay, they're like, push them, come back. Push them, come back. That's all they want. Control and power. And they're getting it, and they're winning, and they're doing a great job. But no one seems to be able to figure that out. And then they suppress any opinion that's outside of their own, and they convince the people, they weaponize the people to convince other people that anybody that even talks about anything that's outside of the scope of what they believe you should talk about, that's bad. That's a very bad, evil thing. We got to get rid of that. It's like, okay. Yeah, like I'm looking on the gram right now, and I'm seeing that it's just like I'm on the Graham website, and it says that it's like not showing that I'm live. So I guess the push notifications are going out, but the live is not showing. Who even knows? Yeah, it's not showing me as live. It's really unfortunate, but that's what it is. Do you think they're going to tax Venmo and Zelle? They already are. Somebody said, come speak at my university. I'll come speak at your university. Send me an email, woke@bobbysauce.com. I forgot to pin my thing here because they took my badges away. So there, if you want to support the cause, there it is. If you want me to speak at your thing, I would love to do that. Email me, woke@bobbysauce.com. I would love to speak anywhere. Yeah, I see my live is not being shown in the run. Good times. I didn't get a push notification, but happened to see you were live on top. That's good. Somebody on Facebook said it's showing you as live. Yeah, on Facebook it's showing me as live, but on the ground it was not. But whatever. Hey, look, I'm happy that it's better than it was before. There was a while there where there was like 30 people in here when it used to be like hundreds. I can't get into Canada. I'm like literally not allowed to go into Canada. I wouldn't go there right now anyways. I saw it on Facebook and then came to IG to look for you. What a shame. But whatever. I mean, you guys are here. I'm thankful that you made it here. Come to Cali. Yeah. I mean, I would go anywhere. If somebody wanted me to speak somewhere, I would do it. Email me, woke@bobbysauce.com. I would speak anywhere. Thank you. Get it, Becky. So it's like there's just such a crazy, stupid psychosis that's going on, and people are so clueless. And like, I'm not even so concerned about making people aware of what's going on right now as much as I'm really adamant about making people aware of what's going on for the next go around, because this stuff is going to start to fade out, because obviously I'm going to continue to press just like everybody else is. There's finally so many people on the right team that I think that we're certainly going in the right direction. And I think that the narrative is crumbling, which is great. Pompeo. But what I'm most worried about, which I would like to keep people aware of, is that we have to be prepared for the next one. The next one is coming and something is going to happen. I'm not saying that I have some type of inside intel. Like I know a Green Beret that lives down the street underneath a bridge that, has a secret track on Starlink and has like a secret Telegram channel that he has super secret, top secret, upside down intel from Donnie paging Starlink from under the sea from Pompeo, it was written. It's in a book. It's on the shelf in the National Archive underneath the ground in the Vatican. I'm just saying, like, they're gonna have some other thing, and what is it? I don't know. But as I said at the very beginning of this, I believe that if you were a highly tactical psychopath, like I believe these people are, you would be A/B testing outrage. For anybody that doesn't know what an A/B test is, basically what it is like, this is what a lot of the mainstream news websites use. And this has been something that I've known for many years. I've been in the web development game, the online media game for many years. A large website like a Mashable or even probably a CNN, they A/B test headlines. So they'll basically run a headline that says, Joey Nazkalines eats a Choco chip and saves the world. And then they'll have another one they'll be like, the ghost of Joey Basement does an upside down somersault and saves the world. And they'll A/B test, meaning they'll run these two headlines concurrently, one after the other, for the first 1,000 impressions. And whichever one gets like an overwhelming majority, they'll go with that headline. I would wager that they're A/B testing the next crisis right now in the form of what the media talks about. If the mainstream media has 10 topics, they're going to measure which one causes the most outrage, which one causes the most fear. And then they have focus groups and other things where they're testing whether or not this makes you scared or not. So they focus group it, test it out, A/B test what's going to get people the most afraid. Are you more afraid of poisonous monkeys going out of a truck? Are you more afraid of you not having enough money to buy a bag of corn? Are you more afraid of Russia coming here and leaving a hot brown on your doorstep? Are you more afraid? And they're just going to run all these things, A/B test them, and pick the one that's going to hit at the highest to the highest degree. It's like these people are not stupid. It's like people have to also understand that there are people in DC that will monitor the color of tie that you wear for the statement that you're going to make, the way that your jacket is, the color of your jacket, the colors of the flowers behind you. All of these things are measured and cued in. There's so much money needlessly squandered in the psychological manipulation of the people. Like when they do debates, that's when it really clicks in the most. When you have 10 people on stage in a debate, they're like, where's the pin? How big is the pin? What color is their hair? How bright are their teeth? What color watch they got on? What color shoes they got on? What color jacket they got on? What does their tie look like? Is it skinny? Is it fat? They measure all this stuff. What do you say first? What do you say second? How do you respond? Do you laugh? Do you smile? What do you do? All that stuff is planned and A/B tested way in advance. So it's like, these people are not stupid. So it's just like if they're A/B testing the next global calamity, you think that they're not running that stuff right now? They're like, let's run poisonous lab monkeys escape on the highway. Let's see how that does. And if it doesn't really scare people, then they're like, all right, what's next? They're like, there's poison in the eggs. There's a dinosaur in Hawaii. It's like, okay. So it's just like, hello. And the other thing that's so crazy too is that it's like, at what point are people like, okay, this is not good? It's like, who would you think would be the kind of like the last chess piece that, like, if they were to convince people to sacrifice that, then it's fine. It's like they're coming for, like, they're going after children in schools. Like, that's the thing that they're going after, and like they got away with that. They're getting away with that. It's like in Oregon, you have an 8th grader sitting outside 20 feet from another kid on a bucket in freezing cold temperatures, eating a sandwich in silence, and like everybody's cool with that. It's just like, hello. If I knew that my kid was sitting on a bucket outside of school, that kid would be out of school before the day finished. I would be at the school on the spot. They'd be on YouTube, like starting to learn that day. Yeah, people don't care. And like even our supreme leader, the Weeble, that can't throw a baseball pitch, Weeble, he's like, oh, you're gonna get 4 glasses of juice, but if you're under 5 years old or whatever that was I saw today, and I'm like, all right. So it's just like, hello guys. It's just like, what? I mean, it's like they came for you. They got you. They bamboozled you, your parents, your brother, your sister, your uncle. They even convinced people that your dog needs it. They're like, your dog could get the clap. It's like, okay, who remembers those articles? They're like, turns out your dog could get the clap. It's like, alrighty. So it's like they got everybody. It's like, all right, now they're on to them. It's like, yeah, a 4-year-old, cool. I don't have kids, and I'm like enraged by that. And it's just like, I can't even imagine how there are people out there that are like, yeah, I have 3 kids under 5, but I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to pay attention. It's like, okay, good for you. It's like, guys, can we pay attention? Because the free market has a way of dictating so much stuff in the positive. People don't understand that it's like people vote with their feet. They vote with where they move their money and where they go, what they look at, what they choose to consume. If enough kids come out of these schools, the schools will collapse. Yeah, they found it in deer. They found it at the zoo. They were like a hippopotamus at the Seattle Zoo has the clap. It's like, okay, sure they do. So it's just like, hello, guys. Like, what are we doing? It's like they convinced you that a giraffe has the clap. Can you imagine, like people are like all anti-zoo. Can you imagine how sad those animals were and all that time at the zoo when there was no people there for months? It's like, imagine the emotional suffering that those animals already were under to then have that. It's like, okay, now do it for everyone else. Do it for the youth of America, the youth of the world, really. It's like, can you imagine how messed up you would feel if you were a 6-year-old and you went with your mom to Costco so that you could get some everyday goods and some pimply chaperone had to walk you to the pharmacy because you didn't get your compliance juice? It's like, imagine what that would do to your psyche. You would just like look at your parents and be like, they're like out of control. It's like the long-term ramifications and effects that all this stuff is going to have is out of control. It's like, I don't know about you guys, but let's play a quick little game here. Who remembers their first grade teacher? I would wager that you remember your 4th grade teacher's name. Most people in this chat have not been in elementary school in 30, 40, 50 years. And I'll bet you every single person in here remembers the name of their 4th grade teacher. Yeah, 4th grade teacher. You know how old you are in 4th grade? 9, right? You remember your teacher's name. You remember things she said, things she did. You might remember what it smelled like in her classroom or her classroom. You might remember the color of their hair. You might remember what time you went to lunch. I remember in 3rd grade, my teacher was Miss Marone. She had curly blonde hair. And she told us on the first day of school, because she was a new teacher, she told us that lunch was at 12. And I was such an idiot. I thought I was so smart. I raised my hand. I'm like, Miss Marone, you know you can't just go to lunch at 12. I was like, there's a schedule. Because I was trying to like educate her. She was like, yeah, I know, you douche. That literally happened. It said on the board, like lunch at 12. And I was like, you can't just go. But that's not how it works here. They have a schedule. She was like, yeah, I know. I was like, ugh. So yeah, I remember that, right? Cool. Yeah, it was 20 years ago. It's like, that was more than 20 years ago. That was 28 years ago. Yet I remember that. You think that these kids are not remembering this? You think that this is not something that's going to stay ingrained into their mind for the rest of their life? Yeah, it will. I remember my elementary school teachers. I remember my 1st grade teacher. I remember my 2nd grade teacher, Mrs. Bass. Mr. Santoro, 4th grade. I remember all of it. I remember the birds and the bees talk. I remember when Cliff Richards told the class he had 1 ball. I remember when a kid in my class asked the teacher how to know if he liked boys. I remember all that stuff. So right, it's like that was 25 years ago, and it's like I remember that. And I smoked a lot of the devil's lettuce for 13 years. I smoked the devil's lettuce 5 times a day for 13 years. Short-term, long-term memory loss. And I remember all that stuff. It's like a lot of people remember that. A lot of people are going to remember that. And they're going to remember what happened here. They're going to remember the photos of them. They're going to remember the photos of them on a playground outside when they're 40 years old. And they're going to look and see your stupid parent with a diaper on their face and you in a diaper on your face playing there like an idiot outside. Or going to the swing set and it being taped off and illegal. That's what's going to happen. And all of these kids are going to feel really disenfranchised, not only by us, but by the supposed feckless leaders that are supposedly leading it. I remember how disenfranchised I felt in 2008 when all the stocks were collapsing. Nobody could get a job. Here I was supposed to be in my prime post-college earning years, and we're in this financial collapse calamity. Well, that stuff's about to happen. The Federal Reserve is inflating the money supply out of completely off the wall. They have absolutely no tools left in their shed to control this outrageous inflation. They printed us into oblivion, and the only thing they can do is raise rates, which is what's cratering the stock market. My portfolio has gone down 25, 35% in the last 3 weeks. And that's the same thing for so many other retail investors. And the big guys are the ones that knew it was coming. If you were in the know, if you were a big money person in Wall Street, you knew the Fed was going to raise those rates. You knew that they were going to do that. So you knew that you could put shorts on all your stuff. You know, you could have put options on all your stuff, or you could short all of your own holdings. And all those people made money hand and foot. They can make money when it goes down, and they can make money when it goes up. But 99% of retail investors don't have put options, or you have to be approved to do put options or do call options on your stock. Most people don't even know what that is. I've been investing in stocks for over 10 years, and even I struggle to understand what that is. Imagine your everyday investor. They don't know. So it's like all the people at the top know how to get rich when it goes down and rich when it goes up. They know what's coming. They know the calls weeks ahead of time. It's the most obvious, blatant grift in plain sight, legal grift to ever exist. So that's exactly what they're doing. So it's like they knew that the stock market was going to tank. And what are they going to do? They're going to buy up all the assets from all the retail investors that panic, and then it's going to go back up somehow. Then the Fed's going to come out and be like, just kidding, we're not going to raise the rates. Nazca Lines is going to have some other thing. They're going to put us into some international conflict to get everybody's eyes off the target. And then they're just going to keep rolling down the mountain with everybody none the wiser. And then they're going to be like, look, here's a new crisis. Here's a new issue. Did you know there's 50 million new jobs? Joey Basement put a hot bag of brown on your doorstep, and now there's a new job. Someone to light the brown on fire, somebody to shovel it up, somebody to carry it away, and somebody to smear it on their face. And they're like 6 new jobs. And then like Krusty and all of them, they're just gaslighting you. And then they use the mainstream media, and they have Whoopi Cushion tell you how good he's doing. They're like, Cushion, what do you think about Joe on jobs? She's like, jobbity job, job, job. Joe's doing a great job on jobs. Joey the job guy. And then they'll be like, man, don't steal my job. Took her job. Then they'll come up with some stupid slogan, and they'll be like, Donnie is anti-job. It's like, these people are sick. But who's even more sick is the people that don't pay attention as they put a moldy diaper on their face so that they can walk into a store. And like, I get it, but it's just like, hello, are we changing the way that we think? Are we doing a little more research? Are we talking to more people about how stupid this is? Because we kind of need to, because there's another train coming around the mountain, and they're trying to rob you blind. They're trying to destroy you. They're trying to clap your cheeks. And here's a newsflash. They've been getting away with it because most people don't pay attention. And how they can still not pay attention after all this time, and the only slogan that they can come up with after all of this madness is tax the rich. You're dumb, Bill. You're dumb, Larry. Pay attention, you idiot. Tax the rich. You think that's a solution? If they took 100% of the wealth of the 100 richest people in America, we wouldn't have enough to pay the budget for 2 years. Even if they took 100% of their wealth. People are so clueless. Just don't even understand. They're like, what's Whoopi Cushion talking about today? They're like, I need some advice on health. What's Brian Stelter have to say? Brian Stelter like somersaults in like that guy in Despicable Me. He rolls in, and he's like, what do you guys think about disinformation? It's like, bro, you're the last qualified person on the planet of literal Earth to be talking to anybody about disinformation. He's like, healthity, health. And it's just like, they're so mad at Joe Rogan because he's like old and crushing it in like the best shape of his life. And like roly-poly-oly Stelter is like 34. The guy looks like he's 63. It's like, hello. But whatever. Fine. What's Whoopi Cushion have to say today? It's like when I watch, like I turn on the View sometimes. Like I remember I went to a doctor's office when I got a knee surgery like 6-7 months ago, and the View was on, and I was like, who watches this? You know, like who's sitting down in the middle of the day? Like, let's see what a bunch of old complaining women have to say about nothing. They're like, what do you guys think? It's like you ever gone to a restaurant and you see like that table of like the people that are on the View, and you're like, oh my God, like you couldn't pay me enough to sit at that table for like one lunch. They're like, this salad is crispy. Do you like the salad? It's a little too crispy. Oh, the dressing's got a little too much vinegar. I don't really like hard-boiled eggs. There's so many hard-boiled eggs. Oh, there's only one piece of chicken. I wish there was more chicken. Can you believe it was $14 for this salad? Oh, it used to be good back in my day. Shut up, Whoop. Shut up, Whoopi. It's like no one cares about your opinion. Retire. It's like you're a fear-mongering psycho. It's like, look, I understand, like, your opinion, like, why is your opinion elevated to the top? Because it's trash. It's a trash opinion. Just like keeping everybody in this perpetual state of fear. It's like, Whoop, take a walk. Like, do a 1 mile walk today. Whoop. Like, I'm so sick of these people. And then like they'll have like some like young strapping guy on, like Michael B. Jordan will be on, and Misery Behar will be like, it's like, shut up, Misery. She's like, you're hot, and they'll be like, ooh, like, okay, Misery, like literally no. And Michael B. Jordan will be like, oh God, he's just like, why am I here? You know, but whatever. And then there's just like a bunch of muzzled women in the crowd, just like, oh, and it's just like, you guys are literally the literal worst. They're like, last night on The Bachelor in Paradise, it's like, ah. And then they're like, let's talk about serious subjects. It's like, no, Whoop. She's like, Bill Maher's not even funny. It's like, really? I don't think he's all that funny myself, but I'm just saying, it's like, no one cares about your opinion on humor. Whoop. Last time I checked, Whoop was a freaking comedian. I'm pretty sure she was a comedian at one point. I'm pretty sure. It's like, you would think a comedian would be a little bit more, you know? Yeah. American actor, author, comedian, and television personality. Comedian. Huh? Okay. Yeah. Woman of the Year. Cool. Best Comedy Album. Grammy Award for Best Comedy Album in 1986. I wasn't even born yet. Whoop. Like, you're done. Like, your opinion is garbage. And I'm not saying your opinion is garbage because I think your opinion is garbage. I'm saying you've been fear-mongering everybody and keeping them in a perpetual state of fear for something that you basically know absolutely nothing about. You should be ashamed of yourself. And that's why I don't feel bad about making fun of these people, because I think what they're doing is inherently evil. I don't feel bad about dunking on them because I feel like what they're doing is poisonous. It's just like, yeah, I get it. You're afraid, but you got to take into consideration the tens of millions of people, the culture that you have the capacity to sway. Maybe tell them to go walk today. Whoop. You know what I mean? It's like, have a little understanding of your severity in the marketplace. They're just like, everyone should be home alone, afraid. It's just like trying to gaslight us about how good of a job that Joe is doing. It's like, we have eyes. Whoop. It's just like, what are you talking about? These people are so sad inside. It's like, you're disgusting, the type of stuff that these guys are perpetuating out there and getting paid millions upon millions of dollars to do it. And then they're just like, argh! It's like, shut up. Like, they cause so many problems just themselves. And all they have is criticism of everyone else. Instead of having an actual dialogue, instead of opening it up to an actual conversation where real progress could be made, that's all they do is just rip on everybody. Donnie. It's like, I get it, but please. It's like, it's one thing for them to have their political opinions. It's another thing for them to keep everybody in a perpetual fear state for nothing and worship at the altar of Fauch. But at the end of the day, these people are not saying their own opinions. They are getting paid. Whoop and the gang sign the back of a paycheck, not the front of a paycheck, and they cannot be trusted. The most trustworthy people in the game are independent journalists and media people. Those people don't have a dog in this fight other than their own integrity. Somebody like Whoop could lie straight through her face to you all day long and gets anointed by the power structure and thus given a voice through no benefit of their own. And as soon as she no longer is a useful tool, they will spit her out and send her to pasture like every other one. She just knows that between here and there, she's going to collect all of her coins. That's exactly what they all do. They have no problem being chewed up and spit out by the system because they're just trying to get their cash before they get clapped out of relevancy. And then they get all these awards. Here's your award, Image Award, and this award, and Woman of the Year. And they all just tickle each other's bag. It's just a big circle where all they're doing is just pumping cash through so they can further advance the narrative. Because the people at the top understand that as long as they have everybody begging for the almighty dollar all the way up the chain, you control everything. You can control everything without being visible at all. I was watching a movie the other day where it was talking about like 19 or 1300s France, and the king was sitting there at the like on a throne with a golden what is it called, a golden crown, and it was like, here's the king at the biggest house at the end of the hill. If you were a modern day king, you know what you would want to do? Not be visible. You wouldn't sit in the biggest house on the street at the top of the hill with a gold crown. You wouldn't want anyone to even know you're the king, because then they could get you. Because that's what happened to all those kings. They got. So they're just like, oh, we need to be invisible. They don't even need to know who we are. We're going to anoint silently people to appear to be the king so that they can take the arrows in their back, and then we can move them off the chessboard when they become inconvenient, and then appoint and anoint a new person to take the slings and arrows while we remain king. That's exactly what is happening, and that has been happening for hundreds of years. Thousands of years, but certainly hundreds. The modern day king is invisible. The modern day puppeteer is not visible. They put Whoopi Cushion up so that they can run their opinions through her, through the culture, through her as the conduit, pay her a fat stack, and then keep everybody afraid. She's just as much a part of the control machine as they are. They're just like, yep, here you go. So then they got all of their hands and all of these things. Then what do? They just buy up big chunks of all the investment firms that have political or have financial sway out of all the companies that are underneath. And then your average everyday person that starts a company from scratch eventually decides to sell out one day. You're 50 years old. You want to retire. You sell your interest to who? Who are you going to sell to? BlackRock or some other massive conglomerate that's run and controlled by all these people. And just like that, your unique brand that you built from the ground up, that you build your whole life with all these altruistic ideals and all of this positivity, gets bought by the demons, and then they go and take control of it. And then it's just like vroom, vroom, and it just keeps churning, and the train just keeps pumping and keeps coming around the mountain time and time again. It's on repeat. And then people come through, and then people phase out. And who stays in power? Who stays in power the whole time? The families and all the money. If you have $100 million, here's a newsflash: Jeff Bezos's kids will never have to work a day in their life. Now span that back to every other person. You don't think there's 1,000 people? You don't think there's 500 people that are the 37th descendant of a person that had $100 billion 500 years ago? Of course they are. Where do you think those people went? They just lost all their money in a casino in Vegas? It's like those people are still here. They're still in control. They are the king. You just can't see them. And who's their conduit? Whoop! Whoop is the conduit. They're just like, whoop. And Whoop's just like, yeah. Or maybe they've figured out a way to emotionally manipulate Whoop where she actually believes the garbage that she says. And that's the real game. Then they bring somebody in like Ocrazio, and they're like, Ocrazio, here's what we're going to tell you, Ocrazio, as we pick you like it's American Idol. Apply for American Idol, and we'll make you a political figure. And then what are they going to do? We're going to raise your stock as long as you eat crow from us. As long as you only eat the garbage we serve you, we will make you the president. And she's like, got it. That's exactly what they do. They're like, be a mouthpiece, be loud. We're going to raise your stock. We're going to anoint you. It's exactly what they did with her. And it's exactly what they're going to do with everybody going forward. And then she's going to start anointing people. And she's serving a much larger master that she doesn't even have the cognitive ability to see. It's like she doesn't have the life experience to even understand how emotionally manipulated she is being. So then she's going and manipulating right down the chain all the way through, because it takes experience to understand how to identify these things. It takes life experience to understand how to identify all of these things. And most people are so caught up in the mix and being anointed that their only objective is to rise through it and collect. And they have all these external validators like money, Tesla, Tesla, power, 20 million followers, whatever. And they're just like, yep, this is cool. Oh, Crazio goes to a bar in Miami and they're hugging her. She's the savior. That gasses her up. They love that. They want her to feel that. And then they pump her all through the media. They're just like, look, here's what you can have if you only do as we say. That's why all of the people that are independent thinkers that chart their own course, that chart their own path, those people get destroyed. And when they get so powerful that they can color outside of the lines, they get disappeared. That's what happens to all of the people that go outside of the game. They're just like, boop, you have too much power. Boop, goodbye. That's exactly what happens. It's happened throughout history so many times. But whatever. So the good news is for all of us is that here's the closer. Here's the finale to this hour and 20-minute rant. We don't know what this is. We don't know what this life is. And I don't care who you are or who you know or what you've experienced or how far you are through the game. Absolutely nobody knows what this is any more than you do. They think they know based on the sum of their experiences, but absolutely nobody knows what this is, which means we're all learning on the fly, right? So we are learning on the fly. We're trying to figure out what this is. What I'm trying to say is that nothing would be this beautiful, this amazing, this challenging, filled with so much wonder and beauty that you even have the ability to breathe right now, to wake up this morning, to have love in your life, to be healthy, God forbid, to hopefully be enjoying this experience as best as you can, to be here consuming this type of information through this device right now. What a beautiful, amazing thing that is. So it's just like, it wouldn't be this good if there wasn't a reason for it. And at the end of the day, all of these people are hurting inside. They will have to face all of the evil deeds that they've perpetuated through, whether they understood what they were doing or not. And for all of us that understand that we don't know what this is, understand that all you got to do is be the best version of yourself, output the best thing that you can for the world, think about the future generations, be brave, be courageous, and output positivity and love as best you can. Educate other people, lift up other people, call out the garbage when you see it, and do the best that you can to leave the world a better place than when you started here. So long as you do that, so long as you perpetuate the truth, so long as you are a person that is a lighthouse in a world full of darkness, then you will protect people from crashing into the shore. And if each of us do just the very little thing, the smallest little thing, enjoy your life, be healthy, perpetuate as much truth as possible, when it comes that time for the next go around, whatever it is, wherever it goes, you will have done the right thing and you will be able to rest easy knowing that you did the best that you can. And they, on the other hand, will probably not. And they will have to face a much different conclusion, because the money ain't going with you, dog. The power ain't going with you, dog. That's not people. It doesn't matter who remembers you for those things. What matters is how you feel about yourself when you go through this. Because at the end, when you die, here's a newsflash. You're going to be alone with the decisions that you made. And whatever happens after, whether it completely goes to dark and fades to black and you disappear into the ether or whatever it may be, or your spirit rises to some other plane, or you become a spirit guide, or you come out as a giraffe or a tree or a caterpillar or whatever the case may be, as long as you know that you did the best that you could with this vehicle and this distribution mechanism to leave this place better, then you'll know that you did the best thing that you could and the world continues on in a positive upward direction. If you know that you were one of them, that you sold yourself out, that you sold your soul so that you could advance in this thing, what if at the end of it all, it was like, boop, boop. What if when you got clapped and that was the end, you woke up and it was a simulation? They're like, you failed, you psycho. You failed. This was a test and you failed, right? Because that's what I think is a very highly plausible. So it's just like, think about it like that. When you come out of this, you don't know what's there. You don't know what's on the other side. And if you go in knowing that while you were here, you did the best that you can to leave it better, that's a W. Even if it ends just like that, Think about the reverence that other people that understand the truth will have for you, or the vehicle of you, or whatever it was. And think about all the things that you see in your daily life right now, the park down the street, the things that you see when you walk down the road and you're like, wow, this is so beautiful. That's because other people thought the right things and teed that up for you. So it's like, what are you teeing up for them? How can you be completely and truly altruistic to the future generations of this world? And it's just like, the best thing that you could do is be a distributor of the truth. And if you do only that, that is enough. That's what I think. I don't know. So I think at the end of the day, that it's like, we can be mad at all the stuff that they're doing, but they're going to ultimately have to face the decisions that they're making. And as long as you're confident and happy with the ones that you made, that's a dub. Through all challenging moments in history, there have been these very confusing times, these David and Goliath situations where it seemed impossible to overcome what was there. Yet the hands of time made the road rise to meet people, rise to meet the right thing. It's like the clock always keeps going, and the truth rises to the top. It may not be expedient, it may not be convenient, it may not be comfortable, but it does always work. It does always happen that way. It does always rise to the top. If you look at history and you're a student of it, especially a student of the truth, you will realize that as long as you're on the right side of it, you're contributing back in a positive way towards the game being righted. The reason more things are good than bad right now in the world is because other people thought with altruism, because other people thought about the American way of life. It's because other people followed that thing and believed in what it could represent. And this, hate to say it, is the last chance for humanity. That. If you live in the United States, your job is to lead the world. Lead. No matter where you fall in the chain, your position is to lead. And the easiest way to lead is to lead by example. So it's like, be the best you can be. End of story. If you get one thing from it, that's the thing. Andy Frisella put out a fire podcast today about this. It's like, the best thing that we can do is make ourselves the best and be a distributor of the truth. And all of these things and all of this psychotic stuff, you will be rewarded for doing the right thing. And the right thing is not what someone else tells you is the right thing. It's what you know inherently in your heart and in your gut, because the gut is the best North Star for finding what you actually should do in life, from day to day, moment to moment, decision to decision. It's like, does this seem right? Is this doing the thing that I know to be is right? As long as we do that, we win forever. Thank you guys so much for your attention here tonight. I really appreciate it. This was a really good one. I really enjoyed it. Hour and a half. Looks like my time limit is no longer here, which is amazing. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for your precious time and attention. I really love doing the lives. It makes me very happy. So thank you guys for being here so much. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for everybody on BobbySauce.com. Thank you for everybody that have been sending Venmos and Cash Apps. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys for picking up the merch. I really appreciate the support. Thanks to everybody that's on the Patreon. I really appreciate that as well. And thank you guys for being so generous, not only with your money, but also with your time. And thank you for sharing my content. The more people you share it with, the more it perpetuates. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you very much for your time. Much love, y'all. You guys are the light of my life, and I am so thankful that I have the opportunity to do this as a thing that I can do. So I'm honored that you would give me your time and attention. I appreciate you guys so much. I will be posting this on my Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Thank you guys so much. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.